Good morning, friends. In previous lecture, we discussed about mechatronic design process. As we discussed about that, mechatronic design process consists of the knowledge of different disciplines of engineering like mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer or information system and control engineering. Means it is a synergetic integration of the different disciplines of engineering to implement the developed product. Okay, now in today's lecture we will discuss about the different mechanical components which are used while designing of mechatronic based system. As in mechanical based system design, it consists of basically different types of motions like translational or linear motion and rotational motion. Hence, depending on type of motion which are used in the mechanical based system, they are classified into the two types. First, translational mechanical system, which consists of translational or linear motion. Second, rotational mechanical system, where it consists of rotational or you can say angular motions. Hence, translational mechanical system move from along a straight line. Means in translational mechanical system, the displacement is taking place in the straight line. Hence, these systems mainly consist of the three basic elements. Hence, as we are talking about the translational mechanical system, first of all, the it consists of the linear motion which occurs in the straight line. Hence, in translational mechanical system, we are using the three basic components. First is the spring, second dashpot or damper, and third is the mass. Now consider if a force is applied on the translational mechanical system, then it is opposed by the opposing forces due to the mass, elasticity and friction of the system. Hence, since the applied force and the opposing forces they are in the opposite direction, the algebraic sum of forces acting on the system is always zero. Hence, as we are applying the force on the translational mechanical system is it is definitely opposed by the opposing forces due to some mass, elasticity and frictions. Hence, what the rule says? The rule says that the algebraic sum of forces on the acting of the system is always zero. Hence, let us see how this force is opposed by these different three elements. Means we have to uh, uh, analyze the application of force on the spring, dashpot, and mass, so that we can obtain the equations. First of all, starting with the spring. A spring is an element which store the potential energy. Means if force is applied on the spring K, then it is opposed by the opposing forces due to the elasticity property of the spring. Hence, this opposing force it is a proportional to the displacement of the spring. Hence, assume here in this case force F is applied on the spring and that spring K that it is opposing by the opposing force due to some elasticity property of the spring. Hence, and in this case we are going to assume the mass and friction which are mass of the spring and friction which is generated by the spring is negligible. Hence, force is proportional to the displacement x. Means spring is displaced by the distance x from its original position. Hence, force applied is proportional to the distance x. Hence, if we calculate, if we obtain this proportionality constant, then f k is equal to k capital K into x. Here capital K is the spring constant. Hence, f is equal to k into x. Hence, f is equal to k into x, where x is the displacement and k is the proportionality constant of the spring. Second, if we are going to dashpot, if we are going to apply the force here on the dashpot B, then it is opposed by the opposing force due to the friction of the dashpot. As the dashpot opposite of due to the property of dashpot, it opposes the force here by due to the friction of that dashpot. Hence, this opposing force is proportional to the velocity of that. This is most important. Means it will opposes to the force here due to the velocity of that dashpot. Hence, assuming the mass and elasticity of the dashpot are negligible, force which are applied on the dashpot is proportional to the velocity which is uh, generated velocity which is bear by that dashpot. Hence, F is directly proportional to the V. Hence, F is equal to B into V, where B is the dashpot constant. Its proportionality constant is your uh, dashpot. Hence, F is equal to B into V. Now, V, what is the velocity? Velocity is the change in the displacement. Hence, B into dx by dt. Hence, here next means dashpot is displaced by the distance x, but it will the displacement is going to be changed. Hence, it is the shown by a velocity. Hence, dx by dt. Hence, F is equal to bv is equal to b into dx by dt. Hence, after application of the force, the dash plot opposes that force due to the friction, and that opposing force is proportional to the velocity. Then third mechanical component we are going to see the action of force on that component is a mass. And means we are going to apply the force here on the mass m. Okay. Hence, mass is the property. What is the mass? Mass is the property of body which stores the kinetic energy. That is important. Mass is the property of body which store the kinetic energy. Hence, if we apply the force on the body having mass m, then it is opposed by the opposing force due to the that property. Hence, this opposing force is always proportional to the acceleration of that body. Hence, mass generates the acceleration here. It means if we are going to apply the force on the mass, it will generate the acceleration. Hence, in this case, we are going to assume elasticity and frictions which are generated by due to this mass are negligible. Hence, F is equal to capital M into A. M d to x upon dt square. F is equal to M d to x upon dt square. Now, next mechanical components we are going to learn about the gear. Gear is also very important for developing the mechatronic based applications. Hence, what is the gear? Gear is a tooth wheel to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft with exact velocity ratio without slip and power loss. Means in mechatronic based, whenever we have to convert or we have to transmit the power from sensors to the mechanical load, then as sensor signals are very small and it cannot be used to rotate that gear, sorry, to rotate the or to perform the actions on the mechanical load or to move the mechanical component from one position to another position. Yes, in this case we have to use gear because gear is a tooth wheel and they are specifically used to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft with exact velocity ratio without slip and power loss. What is the gear train? If two or more number of gears are used to transmit the power, then arrangement is called gear train. Means in gear train we are using more than two or more than two. Means it may be the four, it may be the eight. Different chain of that gears are used to transmit the power from one position to another position. Hence, shaft can be rotated from one position from one motion to another motion. Yes, different types of gears are available to transmit the power from one position to another. Let's see one by one. First type is a parallel shaft gears. In this type, why it is known as a parallel shaft? Here, axis of the meshing gears they are parallel. Means axis of the two gears they are parallel. First type is the spur gear. In spur gear, as you can see, teeth are parallel. All the teeth are parallel to the axis. As these are parallel shaft gears, the shafts of the two gears are parallel. But in spur gear, their teeth are also parallel to their axis of the shaft. That is more important. Hence, where we can use this spur gear, we can use in the spur gear in the high speed and high load application. Second gear is second parallel shaft gears are helical gear. Here, the teeth are inclined to the axis. Teeth are inclined to the axis with the help of some angles, and they are generally we are used for the smooth high speed application. Means for smooth applications we are using the helical gear, and their teeth make some angle with respect to the axis. Third important pair is a rack and pinion. Third diagram you can see where teeth are parallel to the axis of shaft, but one gear has infinite diameter. Is generally the base gear, it has an infinite diameter. It's a continuously rotating, and its diameter is generally infinite. Means it is a, you can say it is a straight line. Hence, it is known as a rack, and pinion is placed on above that, which is continuously rotating. Hence, it is used to convert the rotary motion into the reciprocity motion. Means conversion of rotary motion into the reciprocity, or you can say linear motions, and vice versa, or conversion of reciprocating motion into the rotary motion. We can use the rack and pinion. Second types are intersecting shaft gears. Okay, in intersecting, what happen? The teeth of the two gears, they are intersecting with each other to for conversion of power from as transmitting of power from one position to another position. Let's see the examples. What are the intersecting shaft gears? Bevel gears are the best example. In this type, the axis of these meshing gears are at right angle to each other. Means axis of the two gears, they form the right angle, means 90-degree angle with each other. Hence, angle between the two axes is 90 degree. Hence, both gears, they are intersecting with each other. Means axis of two gears which are intersecting with each other, they form the 90-degree angle. Second is in this bevel gear, they are classified depending on the tips, then straight bevel, spiral bevel, and hyper bevel. What is the straight bevel? Here, teeth are formed on the cones parallel to the axis of the, means teeth are formed, they are forming the cones which are parallel to the axis of here. Second, spiral bevel. Here, teeth are forming on the cone at an angle of axis. They form some angles and form on the cones at an angle of the axis. Means teeth are formed on the cones at angle. They are forming the angle. In straight bevel, they are parallel, but in spiral bevel, they are forming the angle. And in hypod bevel, they are exactly forming the 90-degree angle, but they do not intersect with each other. Means in hypod bevel, they axes are forming the 90-degree, but they do not intersecting with each other. Third important mechanical, third important types of the gears are non-parallel or non-intersecting. Here gears are not intersecting, and their axes are not parallel to each other. Hence here shafts are not parallel and they do not intersecting with each other. First example is the spiral gear. Here these are the helical gears with high helix angle. Here they are rotating, but teeth are not intersecting with each other, and at the same time their shafts are not parallel to each other. Hence, in the helical gear with a high helix angle are known as a spiral gear. Second are the worm gear. The in worm gear, axis of gears are not intersecting and are not parallel. That is, their gear with tooth smashing with the thread on the cylindrical gear. In the diagram you can see um, the gear with tooth meshing with thread on the cylindrical bar. Okay, where we can use it, it is used for getting high and less speed also, where we have to convert from high speed to low speed or low speed to high speed. In that case we are using these worm gears, is to reduce the speed or to increase the speed, means to reduce to transmit the high power from low power or low power to the high power. What is the ratio here we are using? Generally, we are using 200 to 1 or 101, 200 as to 1. You can see the high means high power is converted into the very small power, or 1 as to 200 means low power is converted to the high power is possible. It means we can convert the one revolution of one large diameter gear into the 200. Means one revolution of one large diameter is converted into the 200 revolution of small diameter gear, and vice versa. Okay, this is about these are the mechanical components which are useful for developing the mechanical mechatronic based system design. Means generally these gears plays very important role for transmitting of power or to from one position to another positions. Without gears we cannot transmit the power because sensors and transducer signals are very small and they are not able to operate high highly powered mechanical loads. Hence, we have to use the gears to transmit this power from one position to another position. Okay, thank you.